Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Darkest Dungeon here on the HitmonChannel. I'm Jacob,
I'm Noah.
and last time we went into the farmstead for the first time, and then lost and gained the potential for a fourth season of Daredevil. In this episode, we're going to be progressing farther through. We're going to be progressing into another new area, so that another new area that we haven't experienced, that we have not explored before. Either the Cove, the Warrens, or the Courtyard for this first one. We will decide we will decide which one I'll be in a moment. But real quick, I would like to check the crystals. Okay, we don't have enough crystals to buy anything. Just wanted to double check that. But we do have enough money to unlock something. So I am going to where bless you. Where who were they even thinking of? To, Christian Grey. Okay, cool. Uh, I'm gonna just real quick buy abilities for that. That same. That was
Found a
the
funny
wrong start.
thing on, found a funny thing on Twitter because there's a there's a new I have you heard about the new Velma animated series that's being made for HBO Max by Mindy Kaling?
I had not.
Um, yeah, so it was recently revealed that A, Velma in this series will be of East Asian descent,
All right.
and B, that Scooby Doo and the Mystery Machine do not exist in this world.
All right.
And here's a funny Twitter response to that. I'm having the growing suspicion that these projects happen because someone has an original idea, lady detective of East Asian descent. There are no takers, so they spin the wheel of IP to try to find a buyer. She's not just a lady detective of East Asian descent, she's Spin's Wheel, Velma from Scooby-Doo, who's playing the rest of the gang. They don't exist in this world? Then why is she Velma? Because it's the only way HBO Max will give us money.
Haha.
Yeah, I mean, that's entirely valid. That's an entirely valid argument.
Yeah.
And yeah, Velma's certainly not the only series to have that. Um, yeah, I
Let's get just try and the party. Uh. So.
ooh, that'd be a fun exercise for a future episode of the podcast. Actually, we come up with original stories, like original ideas for stories, and then the other person has to figure out a way to shoehorn it into an existing film franchise.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I love that.
Yeah. After we finish with the MCU thing, that'd be a fun thing to do.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Actually. Okay, so some of you guys in the audience may notice something. Over here in the cove, there's a special thing above the bar here. First off, I guess you may as well explain the meters. For the various areas that aren't the farmstead, there are meters that are there are meters under there are meters that are above the list of quests that you can dig in the area. The which fill up as you do quests in the area. When the bar fills up all the way past after your first far away. I had the word at some point, and I suddenly lost the ability to say the word far away. For fuck's sake! Journey, fuck it, journey. After your first journey into the area, filling up the bar will cause one of the area's bosses to spawn, giving you the ability to go fight them. You'll be doing that at some point eventually, but in addition to the bosses that you gain access to by filling up bars, there are also a number of roaming bosses in the game. We haven't encountered any specific members of this crew yet, but we have encountered the altar for one of them. Since the Shambler, which I mentioned last episode, counts as a roaming boss. I think it was the last episode. One of the last episodes counts as one of the roaming bosses, since if you play at a low since if you operate at a low light level, he does have a small chance of just showing up whenever. Each of the two big DLCs, the Color of Madness, which introduces the farmstead, and the Crimson Curse, which introduces the courtyard, have a specific come with their own roaming bosses. Now, it won't be come with their own specific roaming bosses. Now, we won't be experiencing the one for the courtyard yet, which is good because I am not mentally prepared to deal with that. But we can now encounter the one from the farmstead, the thing from the stars. An alien. It's an alien. And I kind of want to do that. Despite it being a kind of terrible idea.
Oh, well, I mean, so, you're playing the game. It's your call.
I know.
I'm not going to try to force you into a situation where you may die.
Alright, I'll do it to myself then.
Alright. Great.
Yeah, that works. Okay. Also need to remember to... Clown Depot is fine for stress. I guess I know it's fine for stress too. They'll heal naturally a bit, I guess. Okay, hurry into that. I believe he's weak to... Well, not weak to, but I believe he's vulnerable to blight, so... hello, Natalie Portman, let's go. Portman, let's bring in a Black Doctor again. I need to get another vessel beyond Griffin at some point, but for now we'll bring Griffin back into the throwaway. Fuck! God damn it! What is with this word? Why can't I say this word anymore? No one can even tell what word I'm trying to say.
Back into the fray?
No, not fray. It's more French. Whatever.
Then I don't know what you're... Back into the fray, I know is a thing. Yeah. There's also foray, which I'm not entirely...
That's it! God damn it! I'm an idiot. That's why I couldn't remember the word. How to pronounce the word. Okay. I forgot how to pronounce the word immediately after I said that. God. Let's just try not to need to say that word. Okay.
I also don't think you're using the word correctly.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, the definition of the word foray is a sudden attack or incursion into enemy territory, especially to obtain something. Well, actually, I guess
we are kind of doing that when we were going on the missions, which is where I started using the word, and then I proceeded to fuck up the usage as I fucked up the pronunciation. Anyways, let's go into the cove. I'm going to regret this, but fuck it. Now the cove specializes in fish. That's the best way to just say it briefly. The fish, because of their fishy scales, are very resistant to bleed damage, so it's convenient that we have a blight-based party right now. It's a somewhat blight-based party. And... because they are, however, vulnerable to blight in most cases. They also do a reasonable amount of bleed damage, I believe, if I remember correctly, so that's going to be a bit of a pain. I'm going to have to bring a couple of holy waters, because there's a special curio that we encountered there that's very useful. Also, now that we've collected crystals, we have access to this provisions item, the shard dust, which is used to give particular buffs and debuffs to to allies. We're not using that right now. It's been so long since I've used that, I've forgotten what it actually does, and I'm scared to experiment. So, I'm just gonna go in like, sure, like this. Oh boy.
salt-soaked caverns are teeming with pelagic nightmares. They must be flushed out.
Alright, so, now is the area, that's what it looks like, okay. And now we shall move around, and eventually the thing from the stars will show up, and we fight it. Okay, we're at low level, so that'll probably, like, okay, we're at a low level mission, so that might be
Ancient
fine.
traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Alright. Alright, two new enemy types. The Pelagic Guardian and the Pelagic Shaman. So, how these guys work is, one of the big strategies at least, is this guy can guard enemies, and this guy can heal and buff enemies, and also do stress attacks. So he is kind of an asshole to deal with, and he protects the assholes. So we're going to stun him. That's nice.
A blazing star.
We're going to poison him. We're going to back up, I guess. Forgot about that. I thought that through. Oh boy. Like them. And yeah. Cool. We're going to be doing that a bunch. Picture the face. I should have put picture the face on the grave robber because that pierces defense. And the thing from the stars, the second phase for that, because it's a two-phase boss, but the second phase for that guy is very defensive. So that, oh well. Anyways, we've just seen the healing ability in action. Poison darts to further blight the guardian here.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
And then use Judgment, which is a convenient attack which does damage and also self-heals the Vestal, which is nice. Now, I've run out of things to say for the moment, so Noah, do you happen to have a movie to talk about for the episode?
Sure.
Sorry.
I was going to mention this in the first session and then didn't have time because I had to record one episode in the first session, and I told you about it off recording, but for the audience, I went to Goodwill a couple days ago and picked up a collector's edition of Pulp Fiction. Cool. There's 2 discs. Both discs have a bunch of different bonus material. One of the cool things that this collector's edition comes with is it actually comes with a physical version of the menu for the Jack Rabbit Slim's Diner that Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace eat at. With the famous $5 milkshake, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. There's also a little booklet that has some information about the movie. It's actually got some articles from the time as well that were posted in magazines. One from Time Magazine, one from Entertainment Weekly.
Gently. This is how a life is taken.
Also, another cool thing is that so the case itself is pretty well. It's not like your typical DVD case. It's one of those ones where it's like a folding DVD case where like you fold it out. And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is that yeah? And then it's got the iconic image of Uma Thurman as Mia Wallace smoking on the bed with the gun on the pillow. But there's also an outer sleeve that it took me it took me longer than it should have to realize what this outer sleeve was, because it has the title in red letters with the L in pulp replaced with a gun. But the rest of the sleeve is just like black. It's designed to look like black leather, and I realized, like, after just looking at it for a while, that it was like, oh, that's like the briefcase.
Oh.
Yeah, the famous briefcase that we don't know the contents of. Like that's what this case is, which is cool. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool features on this collector's edition. One I gotta find I either need to get a DVD-ROM drive for my Mac, or see if my mom's computer with a DVD drive that she doesn't use anymore works for this, because there's a feature on here called Open Mic Commentary, and I looked it up, and it is essentially allowing people to just make commentary over scenes of the movie.
Huh.
If I could figure out how to do that, I'll make a video of me doing it. Maybe I'll get some friends together to do it with me too. But yeah. I've also been on a bit of a Tarantino kick lately.
In Radiance,
Because Django Unchained, which I wanted to watch for the podcast specifically, but then it left Netflix. But it was available on Showtime, which I have, but Jacob doesn't. And it just left Showtime a couple days ago, so I ended up watching it before it left. Yeah, that's a fun movie. Jamie Foxx gives a great performance. Christoph Waltz is great as always. He actually won his second Oscar for that, which I am a little surprised that he was the one acting nomination from this film, because Leonardo DiCaprio is playing so deliciously against type. I mean, Christoph Waltz is kind of playing against type too, because he's playing a good guy when he normally plays villains. And Leonardo DiCaprio is playing, he plays one of the slave owners, and he's just so deliciously evil in this. I mean, obviously, he's a horrible human being in the movie, but he plays it so well. And there's a coolness to it, I shouldn't say that, but you know how Tarantino movies are.
Yeah.
The worst, even terrible human beings have a coolness factor to them. And that's definitely true with this movie.
Real quick. So we've encountered a new karyotype, the eerie coral. This is a very powerful karyotype because if you use the medicinal herbs on it, you can remove quirks in the field.
Oh,
which is very convenient. So now, Echoland is no longer sickly. So they no longer have reduced disease resistance.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, and I'm so I was watching Django Unchained, and I knew that Christoph Waltz had won the Oscar for it. I was like, man, I'm surprised Leonardo DiCaprio didn't beat him. And Leonardo DiCaprio didn't even get nominated for this movie, which I think is
really
that I am shocked. I mean, before The Revenant, Leonardo always had, kept getting nominated but never won. There was kind of hell, I made a joke about it in my first screenplay. Yeah, no, I'm shocked that Leo didn't get a nomination for his work in Django Unchained, because he gives quite a phenomenal against type performance for sure. It is one of those movies that it feels a little long. It is like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I mean, Tarantino movies are always long, except for apparently the other one I watched recently for the first time, which was his directorial debut, Reservoir Dogs. That movie's an hour shorter than Django Unchained. It is by far his shortest movie. Wait, actually, Death Proof might be relatively short too, actually. And since it was like a double feature with another movie. Oh yeah, Death Proof's under 2 hours. And Reservoir Dogs is really good too. Nothing happens in it, really. Because it's the whole thing is it does the Pulp Fiction thing where it's told out of order. Not to the same extent, but I guess it's more it's mostly linear with occasional flashbacks to show certain characters getting roped into this, because it's a heist movie, but you never see the heist on screen. The opening scene is them getting ready to do the heist. They're just hanging out in a diner before they're gonna go into the heist. And then opening credits, and then it cuts to after the heist, and it never goes back to show you the actual events of the heist. You go back to see the characters getting recruited to be part of the heist, but you never see the heist, which is actually really cool. It is probably his most grounded film, which makes sense because he wasn't a name at the time. It actually had a very small budget, and I believe was also his lowest grossing film to date. Yeah, it is super solid. I have yet to see a Tarantino movie that I don't like, which is funny because my mom absolutely hates Quentin Tarantino. For obvious reasons. I get it, but and now I believe there are now only 3 Quentin Tarantino directed films, not counting the stuff he's written but didn't direct. Of the films he has directed and written, there are only 3 I have not seen now. Those being Jackie Brown, Death Proof, and The Hateful Eight.
Well, something I forgot to mention because I had forgotten it myself. The thing from the stars isn't guaranteed to show up at any particular point, as a random event, where he will occur and if he occurs. So this time, it turns out all the worry I had beforehand was unnecessary because he just chose not to show up. But hey, we still got to show off the code for the first time.
The things are driven back for a time.
And we will most certainly have an opportunity to show him off later.
There was another interesting thing that I saw recently, and I believe I sent this to you. I don't know if you looked at it, but someone recently like on Twitter, it was recently revealed, like a list of all the actors that Quentin Tarantino considered for certain roles in Pulp Fiction.
Uh-huh.
Which is really interesting to look at. Like there's like he had a bunch of different actors in mind for specific roles, but he like denoted like his first and second choices for all the roles. And for most of the roles listed, he ended up getting his first choice. Just he wrote roles specifically for certain actors and was hoping to get them and got most of them. It was interesting, like which ones he didn't get though. For Vincent Vega in particular, of course, the role played by John Travolta. He marks John Travolta as a strong second choice. But apparently, he originally wrote the role for Michael Madsen. And I found this even more interesting after watching Reservoir Dogs, because Michael Madsen plays Vic Vega in Reservoir Dogs.
Huh.
And canonically, those two are brothers. Because Tarantino kind of has an interconnected universe with his movies, but some of them are not like in the same universe. Some of them are like movies that the people in his universe would watch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I also find it amusing that Nicolas Cage was considered for 2 roles in Pulp Fiction. Pumpkin, the diner robber played by Tim Roth at the very beginning and very end of the film. And Lance. Ooh, I forget which character Lance is. Oh yeah, Lance is the drug dealer. So, who is played by Eric Stoltz. He apparently originally wrote that role for John Cusack.
Huh.
But specifically writes it, if I can't get John, I want Eric Stoltz. And then, goes on to list some others. Oh, interesting. I didn't catch this before, but Samuel L. Jackson is considered for Lance.
Oh.
And this list doesn't include any for Jules, so, but yeah.
Anyway. So, we got a new town event. The town is abuzz. A crumbling stone entry to a forgotten labyrinthine garden has been uncovered. The discoverer, sadly, has perished from innumerable insect stings. Concern rises. Stress reduction activities in town is highly effective. So, this is a Crimson Court. This is a Crimson Court word. That was the name of the DLC. I kept saying Crimson Curse last time, I think, but it's Crimson Court. Anyway, this is a Crimson Court specific event. Words. Essentially, the courtyard is full of bugs, and the bugs are coming here and wrecking up the place, and now stress healing effects are less useful, but that's the thing. We'll have to deliver for this round, or this week. But while you were talking, I upgraded our barracks, so now we can get all 4 of these new characters. So first we have the Hellion.
Barbaric rage and unrelenting savagery make for a powerful ally.
The Antiquarian.
She searches where others will not go, and sees what others will not see.
The Musketeer.
A champion markswoman, keen for a new kind of challenge.
And the abomination.
Tortured and reclusive, this man is more dangerous than he seems.
All right. Now, let's introduce them. Let's start with the Musketeer because there's something interesting about them. So, the Musketeer is a DLC class.
Oh,
Yeah. They are. Well, they're interesting. They are a reskin of a different class called the Arbalist.
oh,
So they function the exact same. The only actual difference between them is appearance and the fact that they have different class-specific trinkets. So they have slightly different strategies when you get down to the weeds of them, but for the most part, they're identical. If I remember correctly, the Musketeer class was originally, I want to say it was like a Kickstarter reward. Like if you like,
oh.
or either that or it was an early access reward. Some kind of reward where if you supported Darkest Dungeon early on in its development because it started like in early access and whatnot, you'd get the Musketeer class, just Musketeer class. But eventually they just made it like a free thing anyone could download. So that's a neat little history there. How they work is they are an entirely range-based class. They specialize in staying in the back two slots of the party and then just shooting things with their gun.
Nice.
Oh, ha ha, they have a lazy eye, god damn it. Anyway. I don't know.
Did you actually put in that 4?
No, I think it saved it from last time when we went over the character limit.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, no, put that name back in, Pippin 4. I was gonna do a test I was gonna have you try to spell D'Artagnan without looking it up, but Pippin 4 it is.
Alright. Next we have the Antiquarian, who specializes in buffs and debuffs, and a special ability they have is that when you have an Antiquarian in the party, you encounter more treasure than normal. However, they are fairly weak, and so bringing them in is, and so they are very much a trade-off class where if you need a lot of money, you might want to bring an Antiquarian to a mission, but they'll also be a bit of a dead weight in a lot of cases. Also, amusingly, weak group on life, lower death blow resistance. That feels fitting. Anyway, what shall we name them?
I don't know. Oh, I've got it. Name it, name him Desert. Like now he's an anti-aquarium.
Wonderful. Then we have the Hellion, who is a barbarian a Viking, I think, Viking or barbarian, one of the two, who hits things real good with an axe. No, pole axe. I'm not sure which one technically is. Anyway,
I definitely thought it was a woman.
it is a woman.
Oh, you said he.
I messed up then.
Oh. Well, God, I'm getting really uncreative with these names now. Well, you know what? Who's one of the actresses considered for a part in Pulp Fiction that didn't get it? Well, Marissa Tomei was considered for the role of Honey Bunny.
Sorry.
P-O-M-E-I.
Sorry, T-O...
M-E-I.
Alright.
Which, imagine how different that movie would be if it started with Nicolas Cage and Marissa Tomei.
And then,
Like, that'd be a very different movie.
and then we have the Abomination. Will not take part in prayer activity in town after certain traumatic events. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, so you may have noticed the Abomination is unique starting out. They have all of their abilities unlocked, and they're all active. This is because the Abomination is unique amongst the standard classes, because he's basically a werewolf.
Oh.
Not literally, but he's basically a werewolf. So how it goes is he has three abilities specific to his human form and 3 abilities specific to his beast form. And then the transform ability would allow him to shift between them during battle.
Huh. Neat.
So in his human form, he specializes in stunning, blighting, and healing himself. And in beast form, he specializes in beating people up, and beating people up, but also pushing them.
Alright. Well, I came up with a name for him based solely on the fact that his class is Abomination. But it also works for the fact that he is a furry. Space Jam.
Wonderful.
Oh, man. I went off on Space Jam 2 during one of Cade's streams. And people in his chat were like, why is this guy know so much about Space Jam? Why is he so passionate about his hatred for Space Jam? It was like, because it sucks.
Oh boy.
That was fun.
Alright. So, for our remaining areas, unexplored areas, we can go into the courtyard or into the Warrens.
Oh, also, the reason I was reminded, because I was trying to come up with a terrible movie to name the Abomination after. And thankfully I was reminded of this because I was reminded of the abomination that is the fact that Teen Titans Go is doing a Space Jam crossover where they meet the Monstars from the first movie in an episode just titled Teen Titans Go. Oh, wait, it's not even... Oh, God. Oh, God, it's not just a crossover episode. They're literally doing Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Space Jam. Oh, God. The Teen Titans Go is doing Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Space Jam. Oh, wow. That's like, that is the worst thing.
Anyway, I think we'll do the courtyard next time, and for now we shall go into the Warrens. So I hope you like pork, Noah.
Not particularly. Really, the only meat I eat is chicken.
Alright, well. You'll figure out why I said that fairly shortly.
You shouldn't abstain from pork just because you think that I want you to. You can eat pork, because why would I give a shit? I created the whole universe. You think I'm going to draw the line at the fucking deli aisle? That's a Bo Burnham reference.
Okay.
I did not come up with that. That's his that's from his song From God's Perspective.
Ah, okay. Alright. The Warrens. Ah, and the pork's already shown up. So the enemies in the Warrens are all pig-themed.
Ah.
So here we have some slime slashers, some pork soldiers with higher blast resistance, so the abomination is actually not a great idea to bring here. Oh well. With their shields, they have 25% protection, which is unfortunate. But oh well.
Confidence surges as the enemy
Is that Discord on your end or
That's
mine?
on my end.
Oh, okay.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Fortunately, these two are fairly weak, so they're not too big of an issue. Probably should have brought them forward. Oh well. Well. Domination. Let's see a Space Jam.
Be gone, fiend.
Alright. So far, so good. Okay, that was quite the unsettling passage. Ah, wonderful. Humans in favor. Unfortunately, humans don't have a super high bite resistance, so I can light them by vomiting.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
You may get you in the audience and also know may note that I'm not using the Abomination's transformability. That's because of two reasons. One, its transformability is limited use. You can only use it 2 times per mission. And two, using the ability stresses out everyone else in the party. And words, sorry. And Marissa Tomei is already at fairly high stress, so we'll be holding off on doing that for a bit.
Oh, this is interesting. I noticed there was a silence, so I looked at my I looked at my like news feed on my phone to see if there was any other interesting articles to bring up. I found this one. Going back to the Loki conversation from a couple episodes ago, Loki implies Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is officially out of the MCU.
I don't know if it does that necessarily.
Well, the argument this article is making is that because when they bring up the death of Phil Coulson, Loki says, what are little solace to a dead man, and Mobius doesn't mention that Phil Coulson is alive.
We require only the strength to follow it.
In all fairness, that detail isn't super important to Loki, and also he does. Okay, the reason for why Coulson's alive is a little wonky. He does die to that, but then he's brought back to life through weird Kree experimentation stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just the mystery of the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is why he's alive.
Wealth beyond measure.
Which then ties into
the
the
brave and the
Inhumans.
foolhardy alike.
Or season
I mean, the
2.
fact of the matter is, like, until the Disney Plus shows, like apart from the Disney Plus shows, which I mean, we still haven't we still obviously haven't seen how the MCU shows will affect the movies in particular, but the movies have infamously never acknowledged any of the TV shows.
Yeah.
And in fact will often make casting choices that completely ignore the TV show's existence, like Mahershala Ali playing Blade. Perfect casting, but it ripped Luke Cage because he was Cottonmouth.
Oh yeah.
Hell, he's not the only character to play he's not the only actor to play a villain in Luke Cage specifically that also played a role in an MCU movie, because Alfre Woodard, I think I'm getting that name right, is the woman whose son or something died and she scolds Tony Stark about it at the beginning of Civil War. And she's also the leader of, like, she was some like politician in the first season of Luke Cage that was working with Cottonmouth. I believe she's the one who kills him, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah.
No, Marissa Tomei has become selfish.
Self-preservation is paramount at any cost.
That doesn't sound like her.
Anyway, I realized why we were talking I believe earlier on, I think maybe in the last episode, we got a journal entry and I forgot to read that. It was unfortunate, but not too terrible. And there's her, Marissa Tomei, acting on her own because of the affliction. Alright.
Oh, what? Hold up.
What?
Seize this momentum.
More significant
Push on to the task's
thing.
end. If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly.
Oh god damn it, never mind. Oh, I missed a word in this article title and thought Disney had gone back. What I
Sorry, I'm gonna
read,
say that again. I accidentally unplugged my headphones.
yeah, what I read this article's title as was Disney Plus reveals Black Widow will be free to stream at no extra cost, which would be a huge blow to theaters. But then I reread the title and it says Disney Plus reveals when Black Widow will be free
Okay.
to no extra cost, which is in October apparently.
Alright. Anyway, we have 2 new journal entries, so let's read them. Journal of Darius the Highwayman, 1 of 6. Day 1. Rarer travelers on the roads of this autumn. Of the roads this autumn, and rather than starve, I pressed my last coin to the hands of one who dealt in rumors and shadows. Ravens carried notes that there was a person or persons who was pushing coin for services best left unmentioned in a hamlet I had never heard of. I am packing to leave immediately. And that. His 4th entry. Day 7. We're tangled with some unruly louts. Raven called them cultists. They were ferocious but clumsy. Very, very descriptive there, Darius. Alright. And that was a very short mission, so it's not bad.
Their squeals fade. Their confidence is shaken.
Didn't get much for treasure from that one. But got a few crests. That's always important. And we got some new quirks. Marissa Tomei is tuckered out. Less damage dealt below max HP. But in a wheeled explorer, so more scouting chance in the wheeled. Space Jam, I did mention, he got diseased, our first diseased character. He has the runs now. Earlier on, while you were talking, Space Jam got vomited on by a pig and got the runs.
Good.
Anyways, and then Emmett is now a Torn Crusader, so he does less melee damage. But it's also a Daredevil.
Yeah, I noticed another character that we got had Daredevil that I think it's Natalie Portman has that too.
More dodge chance if at low HP. Alright.
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory to me.
Alright, and the town is going to continue to be abuzz, apparently, until we deal with whatever lurks in the courtyard. Also, Griffin gained double vision after a long night of drinking at the tavern. Also, Chauncey refuses to stop meditating. So Chauncey is just stuck in the cloister again.
just throw a ball at him.
Unfortunately, that does not work for her. Oh, hello, Arbalist. Unfortunately, we can't gain the Arbalist or anyone new, frankly, for that matter, because we do not have a large enough hero barracks right now. It's unfortunate, but it'll be a problem that we can deal with later. Now, stress healing. Let's make it closer. Just do that. Send Marissa Tomei out drinking. I forget what the runs do. Oh great, lower dodge and lower max HP. Okay, we are dealing with that.
I just I found another interesting article that
That's good for stress.
John Heder talking about Napoleon Dynamite stuff. The dance scene was improv, which I'm not surprised by, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love learning about, some of the most iconic movie moments being improvised. And apparently it was almost set. There were three takes to three different songs. Two were from the Jamiroquai album Funk Odyssey, one which was used in the film, and another one was to Michael Jackson's Off the Wall.
Huh.
So that's interesting.
Alright. So, after that, we are going to be calling the episode here, but next time on Darkest Dungeon, we'll be delving into the courtyard and experiencing that nightmare firsthand. So, until then, I've been Jacob.
I'm Noah. Peace.
Adios.